Hey, what's up? I'm Olivia, aka Biblioghoul, and today I'm trying out a different kind of video. So if you like this kind of foray into something different, let me know in the comments. I found this book at the thrift store for like $1 or something called Cult Filmmakers 50 Movie Mavericks You Need to Know by Ian Hayden Smith, and there's all these really cool illustrations, and I thought it would be a fun opportunity to find more cool movies to watch. Also, this vlog was a good opportunity to watch movies because I feel like I have all these lists of things I want to watch, and then I'm the kind of person that has a slow attention span and will watch like reality TV and Wheel of Fortune and game shows. And things that don't require, much of a plot. So I watched 5 movies this week based off of filmmakers covered in this book. So actually, the first filmmaker mentioned is Amelie, who made A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. It came out in 2014, and she describes it as the first Iranian vampire spaghetti western, if that gives you a sense of the movie. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of mood creation through music. Oh, I should tell you what it's about first. It is about a vampire in Iran, in this small town that has kind of a lot of no good men in it, and so this vampire is kind of lurking around with her cape and skateboarding about and getting revenge on these men that mistreat women in the town. But there's like a scene with like a lot of dancing, a scene where people are just listening to music, and I feel like it has like this kind of noir feel, but also this dreamy feel in the version of like dancing too fast in the nightclub. And there's also a lot of parts with a lot of stillness and like loneliness at night. That was a lot of different vibes, but I loved this movie, and I definitely think you should check it out. Anna's next movie has Jason Momoa, and it's called The Bad Batch. If I remember, there was something to do with cannibalism, but I definitely want to watch another movie by Anna. And I also saw that she directed Jordan Peele's like Twilight Zone remake, one of the episodes, which I've wanted to watch. The second movie I watched was definitely the weirdest. It is Evolution, which came out in 2015. It was directed by Lucille Hagi-Halowich. So this is from a young boy's perspective in a dreary seaside town, and all of the boys there are sick and tended to by women who like are clearly hiding something. Like creature and mermaid vibes to this movie. Definitely sci-fi and horror. Since it's told from the boy's perspective, there is kind of the unraveling mystery of what's going on, but there is a lot of body horror, and this film is pretty weird, and it's probably not for everyone, but I enjoyed it, and I want to check out the movie that Lucille put out before this, which is called Innocence, and similarly it follows a bunch of young children in a dance studio, and something's awry. I love Suspiria and Black Swan and all movies about dance, so I definitely want to check that one out. The next movie is Black Sunday by Mario Bava.
Hey, alright. Come here. waiting for you. I need you again. Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes.
Look into my eyes.
This came out in 1960, and my first interaction with Mario Bava was when I was just browsing at the library I used to work at, and I came across Blood and Black Lace, which I thought had like a fun title and just looked like an old horror movie, and that was how I stumbled onto the giallo genre. But you know, ever since watching that and others, I've loved giallo. I'm a sucker for cool lighting and things that look really interesting visually. Also, if you watched my last video, you know I'm on a witch kick. It follows a witch who has been, you know, burned and all of that fun stuff in like the 1600s or something. And then she puts a curse on the people's descendants who got her. Somebody disturbs her resting place and she rises to power again. Barbara Steele played the witch, and I thought she was just fantastic. My boyfriend and I have been watching all of the old like Hollywood monster movies, which has been fun, but there definitely aren't as many female villains, which I'm always like on the search for my ghoul mom in film. So I really appreciated this portrayal of an evil witch because it kind of felt like that female icon of that time that I haven't found yet, because there's like no footage of Vampira, and I watched Frankenstein's Bride, and it is not about Frankenstein's Bride. It's a funny movie, charming in its own way, but Frankenstein's Bride has like 5 seconds of screen time. So anyway, that was pretty cool, but a lot of things that are iconic with giallo films hadn't been really developed in this movie yet. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting. Some other films by Mario Bava that I'm interested in watching are Black Sabbath, which I think is like a bunch of different spooky tales, A Bay of Blood, and Kill Baby Kill. So amongst all the weirdness and darkness, I did want a little bit of levity, so I picked up Micmacs. This came out in 2009 and was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. I had seen like half of Amelie before, which is his most famous work, and I enjoyed it, but I never got to finish it. This movie, like Amelie, is really charming and whimsical, but it has a bit of bite to it, which I like. For instance, the main character in this is shot in the head with a bullet, but survives somehow, and is going to like talk to the arms dealers. I don't know what the goal really is there, but when they spurn him, he ends up finding this like ragtag crew of misfits and artists and tinkerers who are all amazing in their own right, and pulls off this big scheme to expose the arms dealers for all of their shady dealings and make them pay for once for the kind of violence that they cause. And yeah, this is just such a fun movie, and I definitely want to watch his other movies. I think some that are famous are Delicatessen and The City of Lost Children. I think Delicatessen has some kind of commentary on like eating meat or something of that sort, so that one might be the next one I watch. And the last movie I watched was Thirst, which came out in 2009. This was directed by Park Chan-wook.
생각보다 귀엽네요. 구릴 수 있어요?
이거 고글해 준 거예요.
And I have seen Old Boy and The Handmaiden, and I enjoyed both of those. I actually watched Old Boy, I think, in high school at like a sleepover. My friend Laz kept trying to get everyone to watch this. It's not really the sleepover vibe. But I'd like to watch like the whole trilogy eventually at some point, even though it's batshit. But I really, really loved The Handmaiden. So if you've seen those and haven't seen Thirst, it's just like if those movies were a vampire story. So it follows a priest who, through trying to like save other people from this disease or whatever, ends up contracting the disease, which is vampirism. And if he doesn't drink blood, he gets all gross and has boils and things. So of course, being a priest, he's being the good guy vampire and only like getting blood from like people that consent or like hospitals and things like that. And in becoming a vampire, it's also about him trying to grapple with sin and all of the new bad urges that he has. So he falls in love with this woman who isn't the most trustworthy. So it's also about their romance and where that leads, which I won't say more about. But I loved it. It was such a unique take on the vampire story. The same with the first movie that I watched, so I guess I started and ended with vampires for this vlog. He has a bunch of other films that I'd like to see, but there's so many, so I don't know where I'd really start. I also thought I'd just mention 3 fun cult movies that I've watched within the past 5 years that have become some of my favorites. So the first is Reanimator, based on like a Lovecraft novel. It's the basic scientist goes too far narrative, and it's really gross and has a lot of gross body stuff, but like in a funny way, if that makes any sense at all. Maybe I'm just dark, but I was just laughing the entire time. If you're looking for movies that are horror movies but aren't dark and serious, this is a really fun one. Iconic. You don't know that you need to watch it, but I promise you do. It's so good.
You'll never get credit for my discovery. Who's going to believe a talking head get a job in a sideshow?
The next one is the Abominable Dr. Phibes. I really wanted to watch a Vincent Price movie because I never had. So somehow I started with this one. I think I saw Spooky Astronauts, which is a horror channel I watch, talking about it. If you like Phantom of the Opera or like the trope of a genius that kills, Dr. Phibes' wife was in a car crash and then the doctors didn't save her, and so he takes revenge slowly on all of these doctors and nurses through plagues. He plays the organ and has a hell of a lot of style, and if you're a little goth like me, you will love this movie. I think it came out in the 70s. I can't remember the year right now.
9 killed you. 9 shall die.
The last movie is truly the wildest ride. It is Hausu, a Japanese horror movie that was, I think, made as a response to Jaws, but the director kind of just went with whatever. It's not your typical blockbuster. So these young girls that are all like stereotyped by the aspect of their personality that they want to emphasize go to visit one of the girls' aunt's house whose husband was killed in war, and it's just a wonky haunted house story. All of the girls are slowly being attacked by parts of the house. There's an iconic scene where the piano is attacking a girl, and it's just so creative and zany. And I think the director like asked his daughter what scared her and incorporated some of that into the movie, so it does really feel like scary things in a house like coming to get you, but so silly and unique. million stars for all of these movies. You should definitely check them out. I'm actually wearing my Reanimator shirt right now for the video. I really wanted to watch an Oscar Michaud movie for this vlog. He was the first Black filmmaker. I read about him when I read Horror Noir. And since then I wanted to watch one of his movies. The one I was going to watch, I forget the name, I'll put it here, was a response to Birth of the Nation, a horribly racist film that was actually the first film shown in the White House. White men were playing black men in blackface, and that is a whole another thing. I had to go to a funeral where I had to drive back and forth, so that kind of took up some of the nights in my week. I also wanted to watch Born in Flames, directed by Lizzie Borden, which had some punk, queer, protest, 90s vibes, so I will eventually watch that as well, just not for this vlog. Do you have favorite cult movies? Have you watched any of the ones I mentioned, or any other movies by those directors that I should check out? Please leave your movie recommendations below. I would love to watch them. In the end, this book didn't let me down, and there is a lot more to pull from. So, thanks for watching. Bye!